Productions.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Why am I not on the screen? There I am. Welcome, everybody. This is Tyler Yonke, LPR, coming to you Friday. We're doing it a little bit later. Just scheduling. We decided to push it back, but I'm pretty excited tonight. I was watching Joe Rogan today, and I think it was today's, but it was Billy Bob Thornton, and they were talking about positive stuff. And I realized the reason I used to do this show was to promote other podcasts and to kind of do a positive thing. And I've just been ranting and railing lately. So this was a perfect opportunity to, once again, showcase, bring someone on, talk to them. We talked to Mary, we talked to Lee not too long ago. This week we have Michael Oxford. Michael, caliBASED, welcome to the show. Really appreciate you making it out tonight.
No problem. What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you. I know you were fiddling with the libertarian movement there a few years ago, running for office. I was actually, I think it was in Long Beach or not, somewhere, Orange County somewhere. There was a big thing down there. You were down there. We had a booth. I was down there. I didn't talk to you, and I should have. And sorry, I didn't make time for that. But now,
oh, shit.
Yeah. How did all that work out for you? What's your feeling, taste in your mouth of the Libertarian Party? I'm not going to talk that libertarian shit too much, but just curious.
Oh, I've been a registered libertarian since 2015. I'm like one of the only guys that joined the libertarian movement because of Gary Johnson.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What really grabbed you by the stuff to say, Gary Johnson, I understand because, at the time, the whole world that we had going on, it makes some sense.
It wasn't so much Gary Johnson. It was more, I was a Bernie bro.
Okay.
I was actually a Bernie bro. And then this is kind of like my political, wake up. I was trying to figure out where I stood politically. And I just, I kind of liked the stuff that Bernie had to say. And then I used to work at Best Buy a long time ago, and this security guard that we had there, who was an off-duty police officer, he starts asking me questions, and he was like, "Yeah, you're not a liberal," and he's asking me, gun stuff. And anyway, then when they threw Bernie under the bus with all that Debbie Wasserman Schultz emails, and her going to join Hillary's campaign afterwards, I was just like, I can't vote for Trump just because I didn't have anything against him. I was just like, he's a TV game show host. And
yeah.
So then I saw Gary Johnson talking on something. I was like, this guy's kind of weird. And I just started listening to him more. And then I just sort of went down the rabbit hole. My buddy Eric told me about Ron Paul. And yeah, it was kind of game over after that.
Were you more lefty, I guess, growing up, or did you just not even have a political affiliation? It was just, I'm just me.
I didn't have a political affiliation, but it was like most Californians where I was like, oh, I'm a Democrat by default, because I never put any thought into it. I was just like, oh, the Democrats are the good guys, right? That's how I thought it was supposed to be. And yeah, and then I started actually oh, you believe that? And yeah.
So I was the opposite. I was right winger growing up. Parents were pretty much that way. I grew up in the Northwest. But I did go to high school down south of just where you were, La Selva Beach, just out by Watsonville. Yeah. So, and then I lived in Boulder for several years, and it's, it's like the Berkeley type of thing. So I always was pushing up against those norms. But it's not until you decide that you're going to not say what you're against, but what you're for, where you're, at least in my mind, where you really start to think about the policies or the whatever you have. Have you? It's interesting that you, because I wasn't planning on talking about this, but whatever. So the fact that you went and you became a libertarian, what's your mindset with that now? Are you still there?
Yeah, definitely. Like like libertarian philosophy wise or libertarian party wise, because those are two different things.
Right.
The Libertarian Party is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like they're. Oh, sorry. Can I drop F-bombs on your show?
Please do. We'll do some cheer applause when you do that.
Yeah. Like people don't realize that the Libertarian Party is like a spectrum. You've got right-wing libertarians and you got left-wing libertarians, and people don't they can't wrap their brain around that.
Yeah.
And yeah, because the whole principle of libertarianism is just, don't tread on me. Like, don't force your stuff on me, non-aggression principle. So you can have liberal views or conservative views and still be a libertarian. And that's hard for people to wrap their mind around because they're so left-right dynamic, And
it's hard to get anything done because it's herding cats. Everyone's an independent, but you really have the biggest tent in that regards too. Like you said, you have here in California, Star Child, and then me, in the same party. So I don't know if you know who Star Child is, but oh boy.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So I used to think that the whole autism thing was a joke until I went to my first libertarian convention.
Right.
I was like, oh,
it was. We were just. You were at the one in who was there? Because it was RFK Jr. showed up.
Yeah.
West, Dr. West.
Cornell West.
Cornell West was there.
I thought he was supposed to be there, and he didn't show up.
Could be. And then anyway, that was an interesting thing. So what happened with you? But by the way, I didn't say it. Introduce yourself. I introduced you. Introduce yourself to this audience, please.
I got to meet Mike Rechtenwald at that event though, and I had dinner with him, and I love that guy. He's such a cool guy.
He's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. I'm just a dude. I'm just a regular dude I'm an AV guy. I build conference rooms and video walls and put up speakers and all that kind of stuff. And I sort of fell into this whole I guess liberty movement, if you will, because of COVID. Like everything changed after COVID. I started looking at everything differently, and then I got fired for refusing to wear a mask, and that was also after I live in the Santa Cruz Mountains, California, born and raised. But the real turning point for me was COVID. Then all the George Floyd stuff started happening. We started it really started just, wait a minute, hold on. You're telling me there's a lab in Wuhan, China? And then Fauci with, no, you don't have to wear masks. And then you do have to wear masks. And then about 4 months into COVID, my dad died, and they didn't let me have a funeral for him. And that's what radicalized me. That actually radicalized me. And then, I'm a trail runner. So going out on the trails and seeing one-way signs, out in the middle of the redwood forest, it's just the amount of idiocy that we witnessed during COVID really radicalized me. Not to mention, it's right before COVID started, 2 years before COVID started, I quit drinking and started trail running. So all of a sudden I'm in the best physical condition of my life, and I got all these fat retards telling me to, go take an experimental shot because you're killing grandma. It was just, that was annoying. I didn't like it.
So I told you I'm in the foothills of the Sacramento area, just Folsom area. We'll dox ourselves here just fine. So unlike you, I don't trail run. I do cycling. So I used to be a professional cyclist, and now I'm just an amateur old guy that does it. And those same, in that community, they stopped bike racing. They were shaming people for doing rides outdoors. And I would be doing a ride on my bike, and I'd go by people with a mask, and I would I got angry, and I was starting to shame them and yell at them on the bike path or on the road. I was yelling at some old dude. He would go for a walk, and I was doing repeats up this hill, and he'd be at the top, walking in a mask. And I'm yelling at him, and I'm just, because I just got so much. It got so frustrating that the mind was so warped. And then we're in California, and recently this had this No Kings rally or what it was. Did they ever do that when they were literally kinging in this state of ours? No, right? I mean, they didn't do that. Do you remember anything pushing back against Gavin Newsom and whatnot here?
No, it's the exact opposite. Those No Kings rallies, they have one out here in Santa Cruz, and I didn't go to it. I purposely waited to go to Santa Cruz to get my hair cut until the whole thing was over. But my barber was asking me about it. He was like, what was that thing about anyway? Like, I was like, they don't know. I was like, go ask any of them. They don't know what they're protesting. Like, they have Orange Man bad. It was just that. Trump bad. Democrats good.
It did get frustrating. So, California, you did run for, was it like a local district public office? What was the office, and how did that go?
I ran for state senate.
State senate, sorry. That's pretty big.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I learned so much. I realized that I was in way over my head about a month into it, and it didn't go great. I got like 3% of the vote, maybe 2% of the vote. It wasn't good. I didn't make past the primaries. California also does a jungle primary out here. So if 4 people are running for office during the primaries, the top 2 people move on. So a lot of times you'll end up with 2 Democrats. If you got a Republican, or if you got 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats running, the top 2 vote getters go. So if those are both Democrats, both the Republicans are out. It's another way they
so how many were running, and did they pop 2 forward, and were they both Democrat? Was there a Republican in there? The only reason I ask is I see you online. It seems like to me that you would not be of the left. So let's say you were going to just run in this binary system and not run as a libertarian. Would you run as a Republican? Is that a viable thing to even in this state? Because it seems like to me, if you were to run as a Republican, you might have a better chance. You tell me.
Funny you should ask, because I was just meeting with some people, because the state assembly office is there. I could potentially, I don't want to say for sure that I am, but I could potentially be running for state assembly, and speaking with a bunch of prominent Republicans out in the Monterey and Santa Cruz area. I probably would have to switch parties, and it wouldn't actually mean that much, because I mean, you ask half of the libertarians, I'm not a real libertarian anyway.
Right. So look, I'm all about. I think you said the Libertarian Party is different than the philosophy, and I'm absolutely in that. I had been part of the party, done out there in Nevada and doing all the voting shit. And I don't know really how I feel about it anymore. I've started to say it, I think of it more as a legal philosophy to me, rather than a political philosophy. If you really go down with the Rothbard and some of this other that I love, because I'm an attorney, so, some of this legal aspect, I find it better to think of it in that perspective of what I would want. Because I just don't know that we're going to get anywhere as a party itself. And you might have to do things like what you're talking about, running as a Republican, as a matter of fact. So I don't have a problem with that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if the point is to get more people to be aware of the principles of libertarianism and the principles of liberty, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Just run as a Thomas Massey Republican, But the Libertarian Party is they're so set on just they're so pedantic about rules, and like there's the open borders libertarians versus the no, we should have borders libertarians, and then there's so many people are quick to throw up their hands, non-aggression principle. It's like, well, I feel this person's aggressing on me, and it's just. Yeah, it's autistic. There's people are so hung up on not talking about like the principles, like you should sacrifice your principles or anything, but there's not like a coherent message coming from the Libertarian Party. You ask 10 different libertarians what libertarian is, you might get 10 different answers.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I think it's a good background to have as far as like your life. And I've said this, I've heard Dave Smith talk about this, and I think it's absolutely true. And now is no better time to make kind of the poignant issue that it is, which is he said it's like being a libertarian is like having a superpower. And what he means by this, and I think it's completely true, which is, so I was a right winger, Trump gets in there and I didn't like him. And I used to be a fan of Ted Cruz. And I've told this story before because he and his wife and I were high school friends. So I was like, oh, Ted Cruz, now I can't stand him. But at the time I was like, I'm leaving this. And then I joined the Libertarians because of it. But now it gives you an idea. I look at a news story and I don't just go, oh, what does my GOP think? Or what does the DNC think of this? I think of it from a different perspective and those issues themselves rather than the party as a whole. So I really feel like, for me at least, going forward, it's a great thing. I'm interested in how you became a Bernie bro in the first place.
No reason.
Okay.
No reason. I didn't know anything about politics. I was already like kind of a conspiracy theorist. I'll give you the perfect example. I used to watch Alex Jones and the Young Turks, and it wasn't until the Democratic National Convention, I think it was the Democratic National Convention, that I was like, oh, they don't like each other?
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel that's how it was back then too. There wasn't such a huge left-right divide prior to Trump. And it was, I liked Bernie by default. He was fun to listen to. He was fired up. It was a true populist movement. And when he said, everybody should have health insurance and education should be easier. Like it should be easier. Everybody should be able to have an education. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Until I started looking into it more, no, that doesn't really make that much sense. But yeah, I was just sort of a Bernie bro by default.
That's interesting. So by the way, I don't have, for some reason, well, I'll tell you later if you really care, but my Rumble isn't in the chat here, so I can't put it on screen. But people over there are saying, oh my God, this guy is the new Clint Russell. And then one of them says, you think you could be straight like, and then someone says, straight Clint Russell is an oxymoron. Now, I'll say this out there. Clint's my friend. I used to produce Tower Gang, so I see him every week. We're friends, so people can mock that. What do you think about yourself being the new Clint Russell?
No, do not compare me to Clint. Clint is the man. I love Clint. I subscribe to two people on Twitter. One is Clint and one is Mary Talley Bowden.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the no Clint. I'm trying. My goal is to have him on every 100th episode. I've had him on twice now. Last time I had major technical problems because it was in my last place when I didn't have good internet. And no, I listened to like every episode of Liberty Lockdown, and Clint's also just a cool dude. I gave him my number and he actually called me because I wanted to ask him some advice on some like YouTube type stuff. And no, Clint is cool because he's just a normal dude. He's just a very normal dude that sort of started like, why is everything so fucking insane? And he just starts just asking questions, and it turned into this whole other thing. So yeah, Clint's one of my favorite persons on the internet.
I'll just tell you. So when I started this show, I was going to do libertarian podcasts, and I was going to review them. So I was listening to Clint. He was fairly new at the time. And I listened to him, and he made some comment about how this show's gonna. And he posted it on, and now he deleted it pretty quickly. But he's like, this episode is gonna convert millions, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I listened to it, and I'm like, I'm gonna do a review. I'm gonna shut this wigger down. This guy thinks he's Grandmaster B or whatever. And so I listened to, and then I listened to more, and I was like, oh, it was actually really good. And then I contacted him, and so he was one of my very first guests that ever came on there, and he came on there 2 times. And then, like I said, we're friends behind the scenes too. So he's very. I love this about Dave Smith has done this. I got him early. I'll say this, but a lot of these guys that would go on these shows like mine, just little shits, and I really appreciate that for that. So, and you're coming on here too. So
Yeah, Clint's cool like that. He'll go on little shows. Was Clint trying to convert people to be gay, or towards libertarianism? I'm not sure. Or both.
Is there I mean, it's half of, but it's all the same.
Libertarians.
Yeah,
a lot of us are gay and retarded. So.
No, so Clint's fine. People may look. My audience, like I said, I was producing Tower Gang for years. So, and then they broke up. I don't know if you even know who Tower Gang is. So,
no, I used to watch. I was actually kind of. Maybe you can give me the offline. You can give me the scoop on what happened.
Yeah,
I was kind of like, what the hell?
It is fractured there. So some of the people that show up in here, some hate him, some love him, and it's what it is. It's like it's all.
Some hate Clint.
Yeah, they because you broke up Tower Gang or whatever. I don't know.
So, it was Clint's fault. That's funny.
No, it was a mix. I'll just say this: there were some strong personalities. I now have my Wednesdays free. That's all I'm saying. So, no, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, we don't need to get into that.
No problem. There definitely was some strong personalities, though.
Yeah,
still,
good stuff.
Still strong.
Still strong. I love them all. So. Even if I have a tiff, it's an outward thing. I'll talk about it again here. I have an outward tiff right now with Jose because I lambasted him after the Charlie Kirk stuff. And then anyway, we're going to make up and kiss and be fine. So don't worry about that, everybody.
Just make sure you live stream it.
That's true. That's the way you got to do it now. I might have made a mistake in going on the air and making comments rather than just picking up the phone. It was very girly of me to do that. And so speaking of girly, what is your take on this Fuentes, Tucker, Candace? Have you been following along with the whole Ben Shapiro, everything that's going on in that sphere? And what's your thoughts on there?
Oh yeah, my next episode's about all of that. I mean, it ties in with so much. It ties in with everything that's going on right now. And it's so freaking bizarre, the times that we're living in right now. Just how inorganic everything is. So all of the attempts to, create the woke right, to make that term a thing.
Yeah.
And all of these like cancellation attempts at Candace, at Tucker, I mean, potentially even at Charlie, like all of the lambasting of you're having wrong thoughts. It's so like the actual propaganda, the actual Hasbara that's coming out it rhymes so much like all the propaganda that was coming out about the vaccines, all the propaganda that was coming out about COVID, all the propaganda that came out about Russiagate, and it's very strange. It all feels very similar and so over the top and so inorganic. And it's interesting. It's super interesting because there's so many people that have no clue that it's even going on because they're not on Twitter and they're not following any of this shit. But to me, it's one of the most important things that's going on right now.
And why is that? Why do you think it's important? Because, Ben just came out and said Tucker didn't mention anything about Mamdani or Mamdani. So he's not even concerned about the left. He's just concerned about Israel. So why is this an important thing to you?
Well, it ties in with all of the Israel. The Israel issue is a very big issue for me. It's so weird. Our relationship, the relationship we have with Israel, it doesn't make any sense. It's why does it seem that every freaking politician, left or right, just does whatever they want them to do? Why do they all go kiss the wall? Why during the Mamdani primary debates was everyone asks, what's the first country you're going to go visit? Are you going to go visit Israel? Why aren't you going to go visit Israel? Are you going to kiss the wall? And all of them, every single one of them except Mamdani was like, oh, yep, I'm going to go to Israel. I'm going to go to Israel for my second time. I'm going to go for my bat mitzvah. Like it was so inorganic and over the top and stupid. And you just have to ask why? Like why? What is really happening behind the scenes? And it goes into like why hasn't the Epstein stuff been released? And does that have anything to do with all of it's all of that? So a lot of people voted for Trump because we thought he was going to go against the deep state.
Yeah.
And this is a huge part of the deep state. And now all of a sudden Trump's going after Thomas Massey, while supporting Lindsey Graham. Like, what the hell is this? And then you got all of these shitheads saying you're not MAGA. And it's like, so the neocons are trying to kick out, like, I'm not going to define MAGA, but what MAGA was to me was all of these people from different political philosophies, political backgrounds. You know, you had disaffected liberals. You had straight up Democrats from the 90s. You had libertarians. You had moderate Republicans, people that were, you know, like Ron Paul type Republicans that were anti-war, pro-free speech, want to cut spending, all this kind of stuff. And that's what the big tent was to me. And now all of the people that Trump went on that debate stage with way back in 2015 during the Republican primary, you know, freaking Ted Cruz, Little Marco, freaking Bush, what's his name? Jeb. Like all of those neocon pieces of shit that he was completely raking over the coals and making look like assholes. All of the things that I voted for Trump for aren't happening, except he secured the border. Like that's the one good thing that I've seen that he's done so far. And then everybody's like, oh, if you're calling for the Epstein files to be released and you don't want to send your firstborn child to Israel to go fight in the IDF, you are woke right and you're not allowed in MAGA anymore. It's like, what the fuck happened? Like, what is going on here? Like, no, you're not. You were never allowed in MAGA. You were never Trump. And now all of a sudden you're trying to say who's MAGA and who's not. Freaking Randy Fine, you fat piece of shit. Like, it was just, it's so weird, over the top, inorganic, doesn't make any sense. Unless you read Whitney Webb's book, One Nation Under Blackmail, then it makes a lot of sense. So like to me, this is the most important thing because this is a huge aspect of the deep state.
I completely agree. Good way to say it. Your comparison there with COVID is very poignant, and the reason, and that's the second time I've used that word, and I don't use it, so it's on point. And the reason being is, you know, during COVID, you just asked some simple questions like, hey, I'm looking at, you know, infection rates here, and, you know, 0 to 10 is like nothing.
You're killing grandma.
Right. And then it was like, oh, you don't trust us, all this. And you're like, wait, your reaction is a little bit strong for what the I'm talking about. Same with this. When you start to go, oh, I'm not, why are we, doing you're anti-Semite, you're a Nazi. And that's just like, wait, what? So this reaction to it is very telling. And it's also, I think they're just trying to, it's the gaslighting. You know, Charlie Kirk dies. He literally has a deathbed conversion. This is what I talked about last week. He has a deathbed conversion away from Zionism. He says, I can no longer, you know, be part of the pro-Israel cause. And for some reason, they just wanted to act like, no, he still was a Zion. I know I'm exaggerating this a bit, but it's a fascinating thing. So I think it is important because you see your leaders for whatever reason. I think this is also where I talk about the superpower of a libertarian, which is you can see this one issue and you go, well, look, free speech is important here. Why is it a problem with this suddenly? You know, we're not supposed to like Russia or you know, because Putin's bad and you can't, you know, Russia collusion, but suddenly you can have an IDF uniform in Congress and everyone's like, this seems fine. So it's very bizarre to me. And I get worked up over it just like you.
Well, the Russia-Ukraine war, same thing. The propaganda, like the over the top. Remember the NAFO guys?
Yeah.
The North Atlantic Fellow Organization. What the fuck happened to those turds?
Fellow.
They were so annoying. Yeah, Adam Kinzinger's freaking little lynch mob that he had. All like that same exact thing. It's like I always say it's like, you know, when you've listened to a band for a really long time, but you're not familiar with all their songs, and then you hear one of their songs that you've never heard before, and you're like, wait a minute. And you can identify that that's this band. I've never heard this song, but that's this band. That's what this propaganda shit is to me. It all smells the same. You can all tell like the same cook cooked it, if you will. Or, I mean, not necessarily. There were like tons of brainwashed Californians that flipped out. Yeah. But that was the fear thing. Like all of this over the top shit and people react like this when they become irrational with fear and people being terrified of COVID because they were irrationally terrified of COVID. And then you get the same thing with a lot of super pro-Israel Zionists that are terrified that there's some new Nazi movement happening right now, and they're like paralyzed with fear, and they're going on the offense and attacking people, which is actually leading to more anti-Semitism.
Right.
It's so weird. It's so weird and over the top.
I saw this video that I don't know if you've seen this guy on, I don't know if he's TikTok or what, and he's always given these Jewish tricks of how, I call it tricking God. You're like on the Sabbath, look, we can't turn the lights on, but look at this, and it's all this stuff. It's crazy. But he was showing, because Mamdani was, and he's in New York and, elected. So we were showing that he had a screw in his tire. And he's like, look, it may have just gone in there. He goes, but with this election, I have this hat on and this stuff. I'm thinking someone is intentionally putting a screw in my tire, and it was like way on the inside. And he's trying to rationalize this. So the scare porn that they've put themselves through is exceptional. I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary Defamation. It's kind of about it's this Israeli guy that put this together. He wanted to find out about the ADL. And so he comes over and talks about him, and then he follows them as they take a group of Jewish kids from Israel to see all the Holocaust stuff. And they intentionally just like drill into them the fear of this is going to happen. It's going to happen, soon. It's going to happen soon. And so when you have this, or you have that COVID is very similar. I guess I understand that, but at some point I'm also just like, it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you got Christians being murdered.
Yeah.
Technically, you could even call this a genocide over in Sudan. You got Christians being murdered in Syria, where now we're supporting the people that we said were the terrorists during 9/11. Yeah, it's like white Christians probably have more fear, or should they would be in a more rational to be fearful as a white Christian that there's some sort of genocidal propaganda being steered towards you, like at least I think so.
Very well. And so this is my takeaway. Like you see Ben Shapiro and some of these others who I used to like, but they just outright try to scare, they name call, it's one thing. Okay. First, they name called Nick Fuentes, but now they're name calling Tucker Carlson, right? And they're essentially name calling me and you, and it's despicable. I just have no fear of it anymore. And I'm like, oh, it's very easy for me to delineate between, a Jewish person and Israel. And Israel, it's not, I don't feel like I'm at all anti-Semitic, but I could come out and have this conversation and not even give a shit if people were going to call me names anymore. So I don't know, because you had the COVID issue, the mask got, famously fired for this, the firing heard around the world, at least through the US. Are you concerned about any of this backlash?
I mean, concerned, nothing's going to make me stifle my speech, but I mean, yeah, there's always that, I'm going to get fired for saying that. Like because that's also a thing that if you are put on the target list, they're going to call your employer and try to get you fired. I mean, leftists do it. Zionists have been known to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're speaking out against things that make them uncomfortable, if you're nobody like me, they don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But if you start gaining, I mean, look what they did to Nick Fuentes. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, why do you think Nick Fuentes got so fucking radicalized? He talks about it all the time. He was on a no-fly list at 18. They debanked him. He couldn't put his money in a bank account. Like, that was insane. Like, what happened to Nick Fuentes is absolutely insane. And you always have to have the statement that I don't know, I don't agree necessarily with everything Nick Fuentes says. You got to say that, because I don't. But it's like, do you think possibly that Ben Shapiro, one of the biggest conservative commentators, purposefully was like leading the charge to cancel some 18-year-old kid that did just start asking questions? He was kind of like, that's how it all started with him, was just like, why is our relationship with Israel so weird? And everybody at the Daily Wire is like, oh, you can't talk about that. Can't talk about it. And yeah, everybody's talking about it now. That's the thing. Everyone's noticing. Yeah. And that's so much so that today, Ben Shapiro, there was a clip of him and Megyn Kelly, and he comes out and says, Candace is evil. Now, I will say this thing too, which is,
people are like, I stand with Tucker. And I'm like, I don't stand with anybody, honestly. But, you know, Ben Shapiro famously had, you know, a mug said, you know, leftist tears. He's going to drink the, you know, he likes to. I like this situation because it pisses off all the right people. So I'm drinking their woke right, or whatever they want to call it, their Hasbro tears of this, to see those people shake and shimmer. But he was on with Megyn Kelly, and he was like, Candace Owens is evil because she's now saying Erica Kirk was responsible for Charlie's death, which is just an outright lie. So they're so extremes, they're such caricatures of themselves at this point that there's, for me, I think they're losing a lot of their significance and their power. And, you know, honestly, like you said, they probably did it to themselves, and they're actually helping raise the boat of Nick Fuentes, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, 100%. And the Candace thing, I think they're terrified of Candace because Candace truly loved Charlie. Like, that was like a brother to her, and she is genuinely distraught. And she's like that, she's like the mother whose child was murdered, and there's like a conspiracy cover up in a movie, you know? And she's like, she's kind of like going off the rails a little bit, but she's like, wait, this doesn't add up and this doesn't add up. So she's looking under every single stone to see if there's anything that she could find. And yeah, of course she's going to ask, she's going to do some investigating like into the wrong areas where she's not going to be correct. But I think they're terrified of her because it's like, fuck, she's looking everywhere. They're going to find something. Because I mean, I don't know where you're at with the Charlie Kirk thing, but I am not buying what we're being sold, like, at all. And, you know, and that's the funny thing too, is like, you see people, and like the other thing too, like all these people that have all of a sudden started freaking out at people that are like not buying the FBI's word for it. You got like Ashton Forbes, who like he was
off his rocker. This is a guy that believes in disappearing magic planes.
Right. And like, I liked Ashton. He was on my show, thought he was a really cool dude, funny dude, weird dude. And then all of a sudden, like, his whole shtick changed, where it's like all he's doing is going after people. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, you're a lawyer. Like, why don't we, if you're looking at this from a detective standpoint, it's like, who has motive? Who has motive to want to potentially off Charlie? And it's like, okay, you do have radical leftists that hated what he was saying, and like, that is plausible. There would be somebody there that has motive, but who else? And you're pushing this Tyler Robinson narrative so freaking hard. We don't have footage of him actually pulling the trigger. There's did he take the gun apart? Did he not take the gun apart? There's this transgender boy girlfriend that doesn't seem to exist from what I can tell. And then you've got this, I was super careful to cover all my tracks, but here's a detailed, itemized list of how I did it that I'm going to get. And it's written in super weird language. Like, who says, I need to go to my vehicle to retrieve the squad car, just all sorts of weird shit. Like, it didn't even refer to his outfit. He said I've never said to one of my dude friends, like, do you like my outfit? Like, there's just all sorts of weird shit.
Whoa. Do you have a gay furry lover? Maybe you do for them.
I do, and I have an outfit.
Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry. So keep going, because yes, you're completely on target with this. Keep going.
No, that's it. It's like, so the Epstein shit. Hey, I don't really like Palestinians being bombed into oblivion and kids being slaughtered, and I definitely don't like the fact that we're funding it. And then you've got this Charlie Kirk thing, and it's like, hey, this story doesn't add up, and you're not even necessarily saying I think Israel did it. But as soon as you question the official narrative, it's like, no, now you have to trust the freaking FBI and the CIA. Like, what the shit happened? How the hell did we get here? So yeah, nothing's adding up to me.
Great point. I'm with you, which is, I'm skeptical of like a lot of stuff. Okay, just my nature. I don't want to be cynical, and I tend to go down that route sometimes, but definitely skeptical. So the Tyler Roberts, I'm really hoping that he has, well, one, he's considered indigent, so they got a public defender, they got a board that helps pick this, and he's got a decent attorney, and someone could come on pro bono, I imagine, to kind of help him.
Didn't they like appoint his?
Well,
public defender to him?
See, this is some confusion out there, and this is where I get worked up when people, especially on the legal side, they start saying things that they don't really necessarily know. Now, I heard the lady go on Jimmy Dore, and she was talking about that. But the reality is, if he's declared indigent, then the state.
What does that mean? What does indigent?
It means he can't afford his own attorney. Okay. But you have a right to have an attorney. So if you can't afford one will be appointed for you. Okay, there you go. Now it goes through in Utah, it goes through a board of collective of people that can do this. Not just a public defender, but it's like a group that can be selected to do this. If he wants to get his own attorney, so he doesn't have a right to pick his own attorney. Well, he does from this group. Okay.
From a public defender. If you get a public defender, you get the one that's appointed to you.
Yes. So that's just the way it works. So people say, oh, but he can get this attorney. Then go pay for it and have your own attorney. I'm sure there's crowdfunding. I'm sure he can get some big one, but then he's got to he's got to make a consensual request to have this done. So no, the DA didn't pick his attorney, but it kind of, right? But you got to look into it, and then you go, oh, it's not nefarious. It's just the way it always works in this case. So
you said it's a decent attorney, though. How do you know that?
So I've been following Andrea Burkhart. She does a bunch of stuff. She's really into this case, and she's done some looking in there. She says it's an okay attorney. I don't really know much. I'm hoping, though, here's my hope, is that he gets a great attorney, someone who really works this thing over, because if we go to trial and it's open and we get to see everything, you're going to have two things. One is you're likely going to see that the FBI has just said a bunch of bullshit right up front. They can't prove a lot of these things, and it's not going to be the case. And I do want it, if it is him, we're sure about it. We don't have all kinds of questions that it goes here and there. So one, like an aspect, you saw the charging, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a charging document of, we're going to arrest him and here's the reasons. And it had the text messages. Now, those are just someone, pounding out on the keyboard what the text messages said. For court, they're going to actually have to show the screenshots. They're going to actually have to be these actual text, and it's going to be, you can see the metadata to make sure it is, if these are really the actual messages, because I don't know that they are. And so it'll be interesting to see, is that bullshit? Did they find a screwdriver up there? They're going to have more cameras. I think there's just so much that's weird about this. I think you're absolutely right. It makes it seem odd. And then the deep state, you have Kash Patel, who I think is just a joke. One, I think that he's putting himself in trouble, which is he's getting involved in this investigation, and it's his best friend, we'll see in Valhalla guy. Isn't that a conflict? I mean, you never get to have a detective working on the case of his best friend. It just doesn't work. So I know he's head of the FBI, but at some point he's got to just recuse himself from even having any of this access, I think.
No, I'm 100% with you. And also, how is this the FBI's case? Isn't this like Utah Police Department type case? I mean, I'm not a legal guy, but I would. To me, this doesn't seem like it falls under their jurisdiction.
Well, so I'm sure that so first of all, he's being charged in state court. Perfectly fine. But why does the FBI involved? I think the state called them in to do some investigation. So is it really, and I'm sure there's a charge they can do under federal law for something that this guy did, some sort of targeting of public assassination. I'm sure there's a weird thing that they would do, which at that point would then give the feds some leeway or some ability to creep themselves into this. It doesn't sound like the state is pushing them away. So I don't know. Yeah, good question though. I don't know.
What I want to see is if they can prove that it was a 30-06 round that shot him, because that's the shit that I am not buying the most. I have a 30-06 bolt action rifle, and I'm not buying that Charlie Kirk's bones were like so strong and he was the Man of Steel, and they're saying essentially that it hit his spine and traveled downwards. No, I mean, I hate to get too graphic about this because I did, respect Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And it was a horrible thing that happened. It was just awful. But I also think that it would have damn near decapitated him if he was shot with a 30-06 round. And there's no exit wound. Like I don't care. It must have had to have been a super steep angle if that were the case, but it wasn't that steep of an angle. And again, like I've shot lots of stuff with my 30-06 rifle, and they make big holes, and they are a very powerful round. And go watch YouTube videos of them shooting various things with 30-06 rifles. Nothing stays intact. Nothing.
I've watched a bunch of them shooting, the jelly and all this stuff. Nothing, they all blow through. I shot a 30-06, my nephew's last Christmas. And we were just blowing through this tree trunk. It was just, it's amazing. Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah. So I hope that it's a broadcasted trial. I think this will be one of the most watched trials since OJ Rittenhouse. And you said something earlier too. It's like if we're like Utah has the death penalty. Yeah. If they're going to convict this guy and kill him, we better be damn sure that that's who did this. Like I'm not like hoping that Tyler Robinson didn't do it. Like I don't know if he's the one that did it, and then freaking let him fry. I don't give a shit. But why y'all being so weird about this? Like why is there so many things not adding up? And why haven't we seen any footage of the actual shot taking place? Like,
because that place had a lot of this. Once again, this goes back to the COVID and the other stuff, which is it's when they try to act all secretive about stuff that they shouldn't. Like you're giving, you're groundbreaking. You're showing photos of the rifle. I don't know if they did the bullets to Steven Crowder like the next day, but for some reason we're not able to see, more significant details, and we just have to hear Jack Posobiec say, "Got the guy." I mean, I just am not buying some of this, and it seems outrageous, and it could be true. And if it is, why are you letting this go? It's just.
But like how they also said that he took the rifle apart. Like there's no way. There's no way that he did. No. But like. And there's I think it's Lewis V. Gunn on Twitter. He did a really good breakdown of him jumping off the roof, went frame by frame. And to me, it does look like he had a full rifle, not taken apart, covered up with the towel, and jumped off the roof. Didn't have it in his pants. It wasn't taken apart. Didn't have it in his backpack. He had it in his hand with the towel, grabs it, jumps off. But why were we told that he took it apart? And
then put it back together in the woods later. I mean,
like what the fuck? Yeah. And the scope was like way too far back. And it's like, it wasn't this wasn't even like my rifle. I could take apart relatively fast, not on top of a roof after I just freaking shot someone. But like, and why? Like, why would he take it apart? It doesn't fit in a backpack anyway. Yeah. So there's so many things that, I mean, and if it's we just messed up. He didn't take it apart. I'm like, okay, then why did you tell us that he took it apart in the first place? And then reassembled it and put it in a box. Like, oh no, that was like an evidence box. Apparently, like they put it in the evidence box and then took pictures of it. I don't know. Like I want all the evidence to get out there. I want to see what they're presenting. I think this is going to be a super interesting discovery. When is the trial supposed to happen? By the way,
I think it's going to be a few years. They don't have their next hearing.
Years.
Yeah, they haven't had the preliminary hearing, and I think it's going to be in January. So
what doesn't the accused have a right to a speedy trial or whatever?
Yeah, but you can waive that, and he's likely going to do that to get all the evidence. You don't want to. This is not one that I would imagine you would want to rush into court. But who knows? That's just my guess because I did watch the last quick hearing. What is your take? Because this bothered me, and this is my problem with right wingers too, right? They want to jump on this. Oh, great! It's a tranny loving college mixed up kid shoots Charlie Kirk. We got him. Told you those are the dangerous types all along. Could be true, and it's stereotypical because there's a lot of crazies like that. But then the problem you have is they're like, oh my word, they're gonna let him wear normal clothes in court. What kind of activist liberal judge is this? And I'm like, well, he's got a right to presumption of innocence. So of course they're gonna not make him wear a jumpsuit. what have you heard anything in this? What's your take there?
Yeah, I mean, I heard them arguing about it, and I was just like, wait a minute, like, wasn't like OJ was allowed to wear normal clothes,
right?
Like,
wait, you're saying he was innocent, of course.
Of course, if I did it. Yeah, like I think it's perfectly fair to let him wear normal clothes, and no, like I don't have much of an opinion on that one because it's just, to me, it seems pretty obvious. Like,
there you go. Which is, it just seems obvious. And then I was watching, people just get lit up over this. McEnany or the chick on Fox, she was just all up in arms, and it blows me away. It's stuff you want to get worked up over. It's for no reason at all. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, if they made him wear a jumpsuit, I would have been like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't have that much of an opinion on it.
I once again, I want to give him the best opportunity possible, because I think it's going to force the prosecutors. And I wish someone would I don't have time for this, so I can't do it, but do a timeline of everything that FBI has claimed. And then we can do a match out on a column and see if they have evidence that proves this. Because it seems like, it's like the Kash Patel says before, if I get in there, I'm going to turn, day one, I'm going to turn the FBI J. Edgar building into a museum for the deep state. And then he gets in there, or, the Epstein files, I'm going to do all this. And then he gets in there and he's like, there was nothing here. And I'm like, well, what made you so sure before you got it? Were you lying then? Are you lying now? And if you weren't lying before, why were you so easily convinced? Who are you? Why are you such a crackpot? So I'm thinking, it's going to be important coming out of this trial to see who was an honest broker in all of this.
Yeah, I think he said all that stuff before he realized that there's video of him and Dan Bongino blowing each other.
Who would be the top and who would be the bottom in that?
Dan's the top for sure. The person that your next guest is doing tons of good work on. Yes. Village Crazy Lady, Mel. Yes. I've been trying to get her on my show too. I had issues with my internet, so I couldn't have her on. But yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see what she has to say, because she's been looking into this a lot.
I don't know how. I'm actually more interested in how she has the time and how she organizes all it's amazing with the work she does. I'm like, I want to keep up with it, and then I'm like, that tweet's gone. I don't know what her next. She's a hard worker.
Yeah, I bookmark her stuff.
Yeah. You have a Substack, right? Do you do anything with that?
I did for a while, but like, I don't have time. Like I worked like 60 hours this week, you know, and I also freaking like to run really far. I can't right now because I'm injured. So now I'm just doing like crazy workouts all the time. So yeah, I work out or run, and then like take my dog for a walk and do laundry. And like, that's all I have time to do. And my podcast, doing it once a week is hard enough.
Yeah, completely. How much effort and time do you go into preparing for it?
So it depends. Like the Charlie Kirk episode, I put like 20 hours into prep for that show. But like I make all my own thumbnails, so I had to teach myself Photoshop. So at first those took forever to make, just making the thumbnail for my show. And then like at a minimum, like prepping my show, like all the stuff that I'm going to talk about, because I play a lot of clips and read a lot of articles. It's a minimum of 3 hours just prepping it. And, and then just, creating the live stream itself, just like setting it up, that takes like half an hour. And yeah, so I'd say the prep, the show, and then like afterwards, like putting in all your timestamps and like re-listening to it really fast. And yeah, it's probably like 7 or 8 hours per episode at a minimum.
Are you getting anything for that? I mean, I would hope that you're getting
nothing.
Are you? But everyone needs to go over to your at least what's your follower count? Because are you able to monetize any of this stuff
on
yet?
YouTube? I'm not monetized on YouTube. I don't get like nobody. I don't make anything off Rumble because like it's Rumble rants and I don't get any of those. I just read the chat. I just read like whoever's in there and just talk with the chat. So no, I don't make any money off my podcast. I might have made like less than $100 since I've been doing it for 2 years. I make money off Twitter though. It's funny.
Oh, good. Yeah. Because you have a decent following over there, and I know you get a lot of engagement. At least it depends on what the algorithm is doing for you.
Yeah, if I'm talking about California stuff, I get plenty of engagement. If I start talking about Israel, I start losing followers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got a lot of right-wing boomers that follow me. So
That's a tough crowd for the Israel stuff. Band Photoshop always comes in here and says, "What are you drinking tonight?" I'm drinking Sierra Nevada, hazy little thing. Now, you said you stopped drinking beer. I hardly ever drank. And then COVID happened and I started to drink more, but I was riding my bike more, so it was all good. And then I had a real bad accident a few years ago and I just kept drinking. Now I'm drinking more and not riding as much. So I need to get motivated. So tell me, what's your injury? You said you have an injury. What's your injury that you're trying to resolve here?
It's always something new. Like right now it's my foot, my left foot. There's like the pointy bone on the side of your foot.
Yeah.
It's like all swollen and it feels like a bruise. I think I just have some sort of weird tendonitis. But I'm missing 30% of my meniscus in my right knee.
Oh,
I've got a slightly torn meniscus in my left knee. I roll both ankles all the time. I got a herniated disc in my L5S1. I'm super banged up.
Why are you still running?
Because I freaking love running.
Okay.
Trail running.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I live in trail running heaven. And yeah, I genuinely love running. It's weird. Like, I can't explain. Runner's high is a thing. Like, that is no joke. It is absolutely a thing. And I basically replaced drinking with running.
You almost motivated me just a little.
Almost.
The running part, I just can't. I've tried it and I keep doing it, and it doesn't thrill me. But it's okay.
I'll tell you, when I first started, like, it is hard to, like, especially when it's cold. Mm-hmm. It's hard to, like, get geared up and go convince yourself to go run in the rain, or when it's super cold. It's like muddy outside. Like, who wants to go do that? So I decided, like, back in 2018, I decided I am going to run and there's going to be no excuses, even when I don't feel like it. And what I started to do was a lot of Joe Rogan's why I started running. Joe Rogan's show, Courtney DeWalter, David Goggins, Cam Haines, and Jordan Peterson actually really helped me in starting to run. So what I would do is, like, when the excuse maker started going off, because I'll go and I'll work 10 hours in a day and I'm not going to want to go run, especially if it's about to get dark, it's freezing cold, it's raining. Like, I don't want to go run. So the excuse maker starts going off and I had to learn how to, like, turn my brain off, and I would just put on, like, clips of Jocko Willink talking about, like, good, like there's just no excuses. Everything you say for why you're not going to go run, it's just a fucking excuse. And Jordan Peterson talking about, like, there's this one clip that I used to listen to over and over from Jordan Peterson, and one of the biggest things he said is, like, choosing to go do hard things, so when your dad dies, you're not the pathetic person in the corner of the room that doesn't know what to do. And the point of choosing to go do hard things, so when you have to deal with things that are hard in real life that aren't your choice, it's that much easier to deal with those really difficult things. So choose to do difficult things, because you're going to have to deal with difficult things that you didn't choose, and it's going to put you in a better position to deal with them. Then this is stuff I actually like to talk about. I would rather not talk about politics. I love talking about, like, this is what the left doesn't get either. Like, how there's this whole body positivity movement. Mm-hmm. Like, healthy at any weight. It's like, no, you're fat and you've got, like, high cholesterol. Like, people think that, because it tends to be people on the right that are saying, like, no, being overweight is not healthy. They think that you, like, don't like that person because they're overweight. And it's like, no, it's the exact opposite. It's because I've seen how many lives have changed in dramatic ways because people decided to go out and start lifting weights, running, doing jujitsu, mountain biking, and they lost tons of weight. And then they realized, like there's lots of people that always have been overweight. They never learned how to move their body. And then all of a sudden they start losing weight and they can do things that they couldn't physically do before. And they become a new person. They have a whole new outlook on life. And that's what healthy people want for the people that are trying to stay healthy at any weight. It's like, no, I want you to actually be healthy so you can see what this feels like. Like, you're a better, and the better you, I'm doing it for selfish reason. The healthier you are and the happier that you are, the better the people around you are going to be. Like, you're just going to bring that into your world instead of being a fat, angry piece of shit all the time.
And the mental part of that is very good too. You know, it helps you along. And it's not even okay. So exercise, yes, you should be doing all those kind of things. But even when you do, I find this at least. We had a water leak last week, and so I tore out. And I do fix it stuff on the house, put in floors. You know, do sheetrock. I'll do all this stuff, and it's not my forte, but I could do it pretty good. And so when I do those things, it's just like you said, figure out how to do something. And when you figure out and you go like, oh, I can do these things, and then you have more meticulous and you're better at this. It's same with working out. You get this. It's a mindset of accomplishing something and doing anyway. So it is fantastic. Are you a long distance runner, or because you were mentioning Goggins? Okay, so are you more than marathons?
Yeah, I'm technically an ultra marathon runner, but I haven't done any 100-milers yet. That's always been the goal, but I keep every time I get close to like thinking I can actually sign up for one of these races, I get injured. I signed up for a 100K, which is a 62-mile race at Quicksilver back in 2020, and I trained all of 2019, the beginning of 2020. I came in like 10th place overall in a marathon, a trail marathon. So it was like the best I'd ever done. And then I did a 50K in February of 2020. And the race was supposed to be in March. And then COVID happened like second week of March. And it was right before the race that I'd never been more prepared for. And really, I haven't been in that good a shape since then. And it sucks. COVID canceled that race.
And they canceled it because you're outside and can't be 6 feet from someone, right?
It was so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
and it was, what's even more stupid is like, so I wasn't super highly political before then. I was like right leaning. I was a libertarian, but I didn't talk politics. And I have tons of lefty friends, like tons of all the people that I run with pretty much are lefties, but we didn't talk about that shit. We always talked about what we were just talking about, like self-improvement, becoming healthier and pushing yourself to go do difficult things. And then COVID happens and all of a sudden people are running in masks. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I respected you. Like, why are you so like you're seriously in like the top 1 percentile of fit people and you're worried about COVID? Like, I'll let you spit in my mouth. This is like, how are you so scared right now? Right. This is because it was like the super healthy people. It was not a danger at all.
No,
it was just and like there's people I know that are still getting shots.
Jesus. Okay, California. Look, and by the way, you're so right about not wanting to talk politics and these other things are important. But we're kind of niche. We got shows. We're going to give people some info, so we're going to talk about a little bit of that stuff. But the reality is, I mean, I come on here and I blab for a little bit, and then I go and I just do normal shit, right? Because that's just your life. We got family, got kids, we got dogs, just whatever. And then I'll come and rant here. And so this is kind of a little, how are things doing? We like to talk about this, but the reality is not this for the most part. Right. Even in California, I have lefty friends, I have righty friends, and we just go and do stuff. But we just had an election. So let's talk about this election in California. It was a Prop 50. You did a whole great breakdown about it. What was the, first of all, we can talk about the results, but what was it about and why was it important?
Well, what they said that it was about was to combat what Texas is doing, which is absolute horseshit. Gavin was looking for an excuse to do this because, a point that a lot of people aren't even making is Gavin's going to run for president. So he's setting up he's doing everything he can to have as many Democrat congressmen behind him if he ultimately becomes president. So they were saying it was because Texas is redistricting. They're doing it in the middle of a decade. Texas has kind of like a court order, but I don't like that they're gerrymandering either. I don't like that Texas is gerrymandering, but California is already so skewed to the right. It's I think we have 12 Republican. We have 52 congressmen in California. I think 12 of them are Republican. It's like a 60-40 split in California of people that identify as liberals, people that identify as conservatives. And the way they sold this to the public was it's an anti-election rigging bill, when you are quite literally rigging the congressional districts. Like the biggest example is what used to be District 1 up in Modoc County. So Modoc County is right on the border of Oregon and Nevada. It's like that corner up there, which is completely rural. Got lots of farmers up there. Super red. Like there's not a ton of people up there, but it's super red up there. And when I say not a lot of people, I'm saying like maybe 1 million. Like it's still a lot of people. And then they took literally the like 10 miles inland from Northern California all the way down to Napa, right where it meets the Golden Gate Bridge, like San Rafael area, like wine country, San Rafael, Marin, I think Calistoga, like a bunch of these towns right there, which is super blue. So it's like a plus 30 area. And they shoved that in with Modoc County. It's like the bet. And you look at the map that they drew, and it seriously does this weird, stupid Democrat wiener and comes back up. And it's like so clearly gerrymandering to, and they outright say it. It's to give us more Democrats in the House. So like, wait, so you're coming out and saying, well, we're doing it to combat Texas. Then it's not an anti-election rigging bill. You're saying Texas is rigging theirs, so we're going to rig ours. And it's completely disenfranchising millions of Californians.
People don't know, that they maybe on the East Coast, and you think of California, you think of San Francisco and LA. I get it. Yeah. But it is, like you were saying earlier, you're shooting guns, right? Now, when COVID happens, that sliver, my in-laws live over in San Jose. So we'd go over there, and it was, I'm more towards the mountains. Matter of fact, where I lived, Gavin at the time was just a few miles away from us. We were not masking at all. It was just not happening here. And then you drive over to San Jose, and the closer you get, Pleasanton, you get gas, and people are acting weird at the gas tanks. And I'm like, oh, this is just a different world. My point is, there's areas in here that are yes, it's California, but it's a different mindset. And the bad part that they're doing is they're taking the people that are right leaning or very hardcore, and they're making this so you're going to be governed even in your state by people that hate you, where your area is not that way. It's really pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, so people think of San Francisco or the Bay Area, because San Francisco's actually tiny, but it's the whole Bay Area. San Jose, that's where I'm from. I'm from San Jose, born in Los Gatos. And the whole Bay Area was like that. So my best friend, we grew up in San Jose together. He moved out near, where Granite Bay is.
Throw a stone over there, yes.
Yeah, so he lives in Granite Bay now. I'm not trying to dox him. I won't say his name. But he's saying it's completely different out here. He was like, you still have lefties, but like the mindset is completely different out here. And he hates it anytime he has to come to San Jose now. And it's even worse where I'm at, because I'm right on the border between, I'm technically in Santa Cruz County, but I'm up in the mountains. So it's I'm in like this little pocket of like, there's still a bunch of liberals around, but there's plenty of people out here that are right leaning, that like guns, that like liberty, all that kind of shit. But the thing that people don't realize about Californians is most Californians, like the vast majority of Californians, probably 80% of Californians, don't follow politics at all. They're just Democrat by default. They don't pay attention, so they get freaking propagandized by the random little bits and pieces that they hear. Oh, Trump is terrible, right? He's an authoritarian. No, he has shown some authoritarian tendencies, but like they make everything about Trump. Like that's this weird psyops that's happened too. And I almost feel like California doesn't have a hope of flipping red until Trump is like now an afterthought, because they're not going to be able to do this again. Who are they going to make the next Trump? Like they can't make JD Vance Trump, no matter how hard they try. Even though he was his vice president, JD Vance is very soft-spoken. He does really well in interviews. He can talk with anybody. He's not going to call a reporter a fat pig. Like, he's much more diplomatic. And yeah, Californians are just, they're Democrat by default. And most Californians are like, yeah, kids probably shouldn't be taking puberty blockers. Yeah, biological boys probably shouldn't be competing against girls. These are Democrats that actually think this stuff, but they vote Democrat by default. And they don't realize exactly how far to the left everything's gone. and how insanely corrupt the California government is. So,
It's bad. it's a nasty. What do you think Gavin's prospects are on a national level?
really freaking good. And people are drastically underestimating this guy's ability to fail upward, and how much money is going to be behind him.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be if you thought there was money behind Hillary, no. You thought there was money behind Kamala, no. It's going to be so much worse, especially if Gavin's starting his campaign now, and it's not going to be Kathy Hochul, it's not going to be Gretchen Whitmer, it's not going to be freaking Pete Buttigieg. It's none of these people have the national recognition that Gavin has. He's I guess some women find him handsome. He is a pretty good speaker. He's great at gaslighting. He's great at spinning shit, unless he's talking to Adam Carolla and Adam Carolla eats his lunch. But people are completely underestimating Gavin. The people say Gavin will never be president. It's you're fucking stupid. That's what they said about Trump. And it's frustrating because, you've been here a long time. Gavin became the mayor of San Francisco shortly after I graduated high school, and I've had to suffer his wrath for my entire adulthood. And it's I used to go to San Francisco when I was a kid. I would take the train at 14 years old to go hang out with my buddy Lauren, 15. And I would stay the night there. And I didn't even have a cell phone. My dad was just check in with me every night. Couldn't do that today. I grew up skateboarding. We'd go to San Francisco. I smoked weed, a lot of weed. And we would have to hide and be very strategic about where we smoked weed. And we would run from the cops now you can openly do fentanyl in the streets. It's I don't think people really realize that San Francisco used to be sort of a town of law and order. And they're it is San Francisco. So, it's got the whole hippie Haight-Ashbury backstory and stuff, but you couldn't just go and light up a joint and hang out on the sidewalk back in 2004. You couldn't do that. You'd get busted by the cops. They would fucking take your shit and probably bring you to jail. Now you can shoot up fentanyl on the streets and they will give you the needles to do it. It's insane.
By the way, I think that, one thing you can do, what you should be able to do is business owners, property owners should be able to enforce their property rights, even on their sidewalk. If that would be one thing you can at least do to try to take back some of this, crap that's go the fentanyl and everything in San Francisco. The police turn a blind eye, but if you're able to, kick them out of the store, any of these kind of things, that would at least help some of it as well. And instead, if, we see all these stories, someone does something, some 70-year-old man, shoots someone, and then he's getting arrested for doing what he should be doing to protect his life and his property. California's it's screwy. Is it worth saving?
Yes, 100%. It's
because I know you get this a lot, right? People push back and well, why are you there? We just leave. So,
well, to me, it's a question that doesn't even make sense. So for so many different reasons, it's worth saving. People let it sink into the ocean. Everything that starts in California, ideology wise, ultimately cascades out to the rest of the country. And it starts in the schools. It starts at high levels in corporations. It starts in the courts, in the police districts, and then it trickles out to the rest of society from there. So that's one reason. It's you can't run away from this shit is the first thing. The second thing is, have you fucking been to California? It's 70 degrees in the middle of November. You can go it is one of these most beautiful places on earth. Only tropical climate in the United States. We grow so much fucking food here. It has huge military strategic purposes. It has obviously the huge manufacturing industry, tech. California is so strategically important to the rest of the country. Ports, we kind of got a lot of ports here.
Yeah.
It's you just cut California off, build a wall around it. And it's okay, you just cut off your entire access to the West Coast. It's so, I don't want to say idiotic, because there's a lot of people that want to let California sink into the ocean that I like them, but they're not thinking this through. Like, you're not thinking this through at all. Do I like have any animosity towards people that decided to flee? Hell no. Especially people that have kids. They don't want their kid and they can't afford it anymore. Like, no, I absolutely get it. I would love for you to stay and fight if you can, but if you're putting your kids in danger, if you're putting, like, I mean, sometimes sending your kids just to school nowadays is putting them in danger from being brainwashed by some crazy radical libtard female. And I get it. Like, I get why a lot of people have fled. I can't afford it anymore. But if you're in a position to stay here and fight, I feel almost like it's your duty, because there's no running from this. If you had to make a tactical retreat, I get that. But if you're just trying to run away, I'm going to move to a red state, it's just going to follow you. Like, it's, yeah.
I come and go. Oh, your dog want to come on the show?
She knocked my lights down.
Oh, well. Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are. They're stringing out there. Sometimes I want to leave and whatnot, but it is an amazing state. And, there is that concept. I don't know if you've ever read Atlas Shrugged, by Ayn Rand, where you just, gulch, you just disappear, right? Why fight this mechanism that's going to try to kill you, in which they literally are doing. So I get that mentality too. I'm here. I have 4 kids. Youngest is 19, 2 boys, 2 girls. Youngest is 19. The oldest is 25. So 3 in college, or 1's out of college and 3 are in, anyway. They were not infected, right? And so matter of fact, they are very strong. The youngest one argues with his teachers and students all the time. He's an amazing kid. And so sometimes I'm like, maybe it's the parents that allow this to happen to their kids. I mean, I don't know about this, because you're talking about, danger of sending your kids to school and what they could be indoctrinated. But it's also like, if you're the COVID situation, right? Antibodies, like you need to be pushed. You need your thoughts to be challenged. On a tree that gets, the wind gets stronger. And I think that's, at least for me, that's what our kids have done. That should be what everyone's out there trying to do. I don't know if that works or not, what have you, but
no, especially the Atlas Shrugged analogy. I mean, look at the whole book was Dagny staying and fighting until it reached a point where she just couldn't anymore, had to do a tactical retreat. But then what happens at the end of the story? Okay, let's go back and fix it. Like, that's like, so you said, is California worth saving? Yes. Is there any saving California? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Like,
I have no, by the way, because you mentioned, Gavin's not a bright guy, but I've long since given up on the argument of pointing out the ills of a politician to say that, you shouldn't vote. Like, give me a break. There's idiots out there all the time that will get elected. Kamala almost did, Biden does. He's like half there. You can say what you want about Trump, whether you like him or hate him. Some people will say he's an idiot. Okay, well, he gets elected. So I know we don't send our biggest and our best and brightest. So Gavin is, if people don't know, they should go back. I did a breakdown of this whole interview that Adam Carolla did with Gavin Newsom, as I want to say about 16 years ago. And Brian McWilliams came on and we just watched the whole thing, and just it's fantastic takedown of Gavin Newsom. He's not a bright guy, but the money and everything else, the mechanism that goes into it. Do you think I know you say he's going to run. Is he going to be elected?
I don't know if he's going to be elected, but I think he has a very strong chance. And I think underestimating him is a huge mistake.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, I think he's going to get the nomination. I think it'll be between him and JD Vance, or there's a small handful of people that could potentially take the Republican nomination, but right now it's looking like it's going to be JD Vance versus Gavin Newsom, and that's like a solid matchup. And
you're missing, though. Bannon said Trump's going to get a 3rd term.
Yeah, I'll fucking
No, you're not buying that.
I don't even think Trump wants a 3rd term. Yeah.
He's getting old for that.
Yeah, he's getting old, and he wants to go retire at his new casino that he's going to build in Gaza.
Oh, that's right. Do you think we should have an age limit on, like upper limit for running for president?
Probably.
how about a cognitive test that we can that the posing. So we do this in court, right? So you want a psychological evaluation. The person that's getting evaluated, they don't pick their own evaluator. The other party picks it. So we should have that where, the Democrats get to choose an evaluator for the cognitive ability for the for the Republicans, and then we can have those test results. What do you think of that?
Every single candidate seems to have narcissistic personality disorder. It's weird.
That is true. Bipolar, all these other things. Yeah.
Like every candidate, like what normal person would want to be president?
Right.
It's the only, you like have to be a narcissist to want to become president, even governor of California for sure.
What about state representative?
Yeah. I think I have a healthy level of narcissism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm not, I'm not I'm very actually self-deprecating. I'm not, my friend Eric always tells me that like I have like imposter syndrome. So I think it's, but I do have, I get a little too big for my britches sometimes.
Yeah, we all do. What's like Trump, my problem with Trump is he and Bernie Sanders can see the same problem, right? And you see this, like college tuition's too high. But instead of Trump going back to the source of what that might be, maybe, the loans and some other issues, his deal is I'm just going to manage it better. So I'm like, geez, you want the same things to go on, but you're going to be a better manager. And it's so annoying. And I think that is even more narcissistic. Whereas, a Massey is like, we're going to go back to we're not going to just put a valve at the end of the pipe. We're going to go back and turn it off way back here, and actually solve the problem. So which kind of person are you there? Are you a manager or are you a problem solver?
No, I'm very let the markets fix this on its own. Like I'm the government needs to get out of the way in order to solve problems. Like the reason housing's so expensive, like in California, because there's no inventory, because they make it impossible to build out here.
Yeah.
And the government needs to get out of the way. Like, why is everything so expensive? It's because of government overregulation for everything that's expensive. Gas, electricity, housing, everything. So no, I'm Massey. And if there's like a thing that exists that shouldn't exist, that's making all of our lives miserable, no, you need to chop that cancer off, like the Federal Reserve. And, there's no, I don't think I can reform things that are so completely broken that they just should be completely eliminated. No, like Kash Patel should have shut down the FBI.
Yeah, right. But see, that's where you also get the realization that it's these people aren't serious. I say like Kash or even Trump, the deep state. Deep state has worked you over for the election with with Biden, all the lawfare, and then you come in there and you're kind of like, well, we'll just keep it going. It's
insane.
Yeah,
it's insane how there hasn't been mass firings at the FBI.
Well, the Doge thing, right? They're like, hey, we're going to recognize all this. And they're like, sweet. And then they just pass everything. And the next thing you know, Elon Musk is gone.
Yeah. And I think that's what happened with Elon. And I'm like, I have my major criticisms of Elon too. But I think what happened is Elon went in there and he's like, look at this shit. Holy shit. Look at this. Look what I found. And they're like, just fucking leave it alone. Like, what? Like, I think that's what happened. And Elon started turning over rocks that weren't supposed to get turned over. Like that, the NAID, NIAID funding, that shit, I don't think was supposed to get discovered, because that literally was CIA funding psyops through non-governmental organizations. And I don't think that shit was supposed to be discovered.
Who was the guy that was going on? He was talking a lot about that.
I know you're talking about the bald guy.
Kind of a wormy little. Yeah, some people were like, oh, he's a Fed and whatnot, and I think he literally was.
It is Mike something, isn't it?
Yes, Benz.
Mike Benz. Yeah. Mike Benz. He was talking. He went on Rogan and talked about that, and he's so down the rabbit hole that it's like he's a Whitney Webb type, where it's like hard to follow him because he's got so much information. And no, I actually like Mike Benz because he does talk about the things that you're not supposed to talk about. And a lot of people are calling him an Israel plant. I don't think that's the case at all, because he does speak about Israel, but he talks a lot more about like the CIA, and he comes from that world too. But then again, I don't trust anybody, so I don't know. He might be a plant.
But sometimes, look, I mean, you have whistleblowers, and sometimes they are fed, and they need to, whistleblow. You need someone with some insight. John Kiriakou, I think is his name. He was on. I've watched a bunch of his stuff, and I'm like, yeah, he's a very interesting guy, and I've heard him tell the same stories multiple times, similar. So I'm like, okay, at least he has his details right, and he's willing to just spill the beans to the point where I'm like, I don't hear anybody push him back on this. So
he went to prison for whistleblowing.
He did, yes.
So that's like a bit of a different case. But then you've got the whistleblowers. They're not really blowing the whistle. They're just telling you shit that they're not getting in trouble for. So is this a limited hangout? Like, a lot of people don't know what a limited hangout is, and Whitney Webb has her unlimited hangout thing, just a little play on words. I'm sure you guys, your audience seems like they're a highly informed audience, but for those of you who may not know what a limited hangout is, it's when intelligence agencies tell you just a little bit of information to appease you, but they're not telling you the whole story. And then there's the kind of the opposite of that, which serves the same purpose, which is just an info dump. They're going to tell you everything, but they're going to throw a bunch of bullshit in there too that's not real. So you can't tell what's real and what's fake. So you've got, so like, who's really a whistleblower? If they're not escaping to Russia like Edward Snowden, are you really a whistleblower? Like, are you really, like, people that basically whistleblow that don't get in trouble? It's like, I'm a little suspect to you. There's who's the other guy that's always on shows? That's the other former CIA guy,
Mike someone,
the big curly hair, big long curly hair, like brown skinned guy. And then there's the blonde chick that went on Sean Ryan right before the freaking Cybertruck explosion. You remember that chick?
No.
Oh, you don't remember that whole incident? You remember the Cybertruck blowing up in front of the
hotel in
totally,
Vegas,
right?
Yeah.
Do you remember like the letter that got sent to Sean Ryan?
Yes.
And everybody, like, so the guy went on the Sean Ryan show and starts talking about it, and everybody's like, this is a fucking op. This is some bullshit, because he started trying to tie it in to like anti-gravity shit. And then at the what a ton of people don't notice about that episode too is like 2.5, 3 hours long. At the very end of it, the very end, like the last 5 minutes, and he's like, oh yeah, and by the way, Iran snuck a bunch of surface-to-air air missiles into the United States. And you're like, oh, so that's what this is about. And then you've got that blonde chick that goes on Sean Ryan too. So like after that whole thing blew up with Sean Ryan, they did a big Twitter space on it. And it was Sean Ryan, that whistleblower guy, and then the blonde freaking spook that, like, they all went on there and they're trying to like clean up the spill on aisle 7. It was bad. That whole fucking psyop. There's so many weird things.
See, I got this sense from, you say Sean Ryan, that he's kind of feddy, right? I mean,
I think he is. He's a smart guy, so I don't want to call him this, but he seems more like useful idiot to me.
Okay. Yeah,
he's got a big giant platform, but he does have some really cool guests on sometimes.
Yeah, I get it.
And I mean, like Dale.
So does Lex Friedman.
Lex Friedman. I don't think he's a freaking a psyop either. I just think he blew up from Joe Rogan. That's all.
Yeah, I could see that. Look, you said my audience is smart, but here's what they say: sprained penis, Modoc County. So I don't know what you mean. No, I love these guys. So let's call it a night here. I want to have you back with more of the shit that happens with California, and then when you get your body back and you're starting running, maybe we'll come and have you talk about that. And if you're ever over in my area, let me know. I'd love to meet up with you. And if I head down to your area, I'll let you know as well. So anything you want to plug and say before you head out?
Yeah. I mean, my show it's called caliBASED on YouTube. Follow me on X, SC Mountain Goat, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Everybody, I have a Substack. Go to there. It's Tyler Yonke at substack.com. You get all the show info. Sometimes I post some things up there. We do a members only every once in a while too. So once again, Michael, I really appreciate you coming on. We're gonna have this outro. It's a little schizo, and then if you want to hang out, we can say some goodbyes in the back. Everybody, talk to you next week. Thanks.
Top Lobster Production.
is